What's up, y'all? This is John and Mike back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast live on Millions. Tonight we are talking about mostly the Georgia game and a few other games. I think we both have another game on to the side because we are recording this on Saturday night, sadly enough. But it's because Mike has taken the family on a trip to Disney, so, we'll forgive him.
Yeah, it'll be good. It does suck to not have some of these finals down, but
Yeah,
it's for a good cause. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be okay. Um, Before we get into anything else, we do want to talk about our merch that's live on millions.co. Just search us there and you can find the t-shirt, youth shirts, and hoodie that we've got available. It's super cool design. So check that out. Even if you don't want to necessarily spend the money on it, send it to somebody in your family for Christmas, for you.
hmm
Just be selfish. It's the best thing
Yeah,
you
there
can
you
do.
go. It's better to give than receive.
Um, so before we get into all that kind of stuff, I know we haven't had much of a weekend so far, but how was your weekend been?
It's been good. Just today we spent mostly packing and stuff. We had a neighborhood friendsgiving potluck deal, so did that kind of toward the end of the Georgia and Tennessee game. So I didn't see. I mean, I ended up watching the highlights of it right before we got on, but didn't see the end of it. But not that it mattered. The game was over at halftime anyway.
Yeah,
Um, but it was good. I mean, gonna get up nice and early and head down to Orlando tomorrow. So, drinking wise, I have a Long Island that I made for myself, so it's gonna help me go to sleep tonight. How about you?
for sure. No, it's been a good weekend, man. I'll be honest, I forgot what weekend it was. So I've got a pretty big disc golf tournament tomorrow morning that I forgot about until yesterday afternoon.
hmm
Um, so I had to reschedule my tattoo appointment a couple hours, so I'm going to leave the tournament and go straight to get my tattoo. Um,
Oh yeah.
but no, man, it's been good. Got to watch football all day. Some friends came over and watched the Georgia Tennessee game with us. Um, I was coerced into taking a fireball shot, so between the allergies and the fireball shot, my voice is still a little raspy, but we'll make it
hmm
through.
Fireball didn't clear you up at all.
No,
Hmm.
I hate the taste of cinnamon
Mm.
a with a passion.
Yeah, I'm kind of hit or miss on it. Depends on how the night is going for me, but I get it.
I hate the taste of cinnamon, so I was coerced into it, and I have not chased a shot in probably um, an incriminating amount of time.
Well, because you drink like grown-up liquors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I chased the fireball.
Oh,
I chased it with a PBR, but I chased it.
that taught you well.
Yeah. So, but no, man. Let's go ahead and get into this Tennessee game. I think every Georgia fan had to pick their jaw up off the floor after that first play by Tennessee because
hmm
that was go ahead and sneak peek to what we got coming in a little bit. That was the one mistake C.J. Allen made all day.
Yeah.
Hit the wrong gap, and Jalen Wright's speed just took it all the way. When Tyke and Javon can't catch up, that's saying something. Dude's
Yeah.
fast.
I think he did that entire play, or from snap to touchdown. I think it was 11 seconds. He went 75 yards, which
11 seconds.
good for him. I mean, good for him. I mean, we had talked about it before, and I think Gary had brought it up that this is the eighth. I don't know if he's actually right on this, but I mean, he may be the eighth first drive touchdown that Georgia's allowed this year out of 11 games.
That's probably
Or
right.
yeah, or at the very minimum, like points, which again
Yeah.
didn't really happen last year, or I mean, especially in 2021, really. But um, it was a little bit jarring for them to score that fast, but like again, like we talked about, usually give up a lot of points or not a lot of points, but points on the first drive and then settle down or yeah, settle down after that. But also like Josh Heupel like being like the master of like the first like 15 play script. That was incredible to just do it in one. He
Yeah,
fit all that success into one play, and then they didn't do shit after that, at least the first half.
I was about to say. I mean, the problem is the first play of his script was great. The other 14 not good apparently.
It and I think they had said it wrong in the broadcast. I'd have to go back and actually like say it, but they made it seem like after that they only had -4 yards like afterward. I think maybe -4 yards rushing after that, like not counting the 75-yard run to the like what until like the last drive of the first half, I think, for Tennessee.
Yeah, and most of that last drive of the first half was all dink and duck passing game. So
Mm, yeah.
yeah. So go ahead and throw this out there. I didn't have a picture of everybody's bingo cards going into today. Um, but did you have Dylan Bell receiving and passing touchdown on your bingo card?
I did not. I had no idea he had that, but he's been a Swiss Army knife for this team all year, having getting running back snaps and so on. I think that was another thing that was on the broadcast. It said that that was the fourth non-quarterback to throw a touchdown pass, or I think they said fourth running back to throw a touchdown pass for Georgia. But are we counting Dylan Bell as a running back? I know he's had running back snaps.
His position is athlete.
Hell yeah, it is.
Uh, you know, I honestly sometimes feel like you could just put Dylan Bell at corner and he'd probably do okay.
Hmm.
He can obviously play quarterback too.
Yeah,
So
that was nice too.
is Dylan Bell a better quarterback than Joe Milton? People are asking.
He has more touch. You just flick the
Dropped it.
wrist. Yeah,
Just dropped
in
it.
a bucket.
There was
To
no velocity,
no, no, no,
but you don't need velocity.
no, not at all.
If
And
especially if nobody's within 10, 15 yards of the guy.
yeah, who would have thought Bobo had that in his playbook? Again, was
Um
on our bingo card.
it wasn't on our bingo card, but he did have Todd Gurley throw a touchdown pass back in 2013 or 2014.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. It was there. It was deep, deep in that playbook.
he's
Um,
doing the Belichick. He doesn't call the same play within 10 years.
yeah, nobody saw it coming. But Dylan definitely answered the bell. So shout out Dylan Bell. And shout out me for calling him for having him in on my when I talked about in the preseason as being one of my breakout players. He waited till game 11 to do it, but damn it, I'm
Well, he was
right.
averaging 5 yards a carry in his running back touches up
Hmm.
until now.
Yeah.
So, he might have been used sparingly,
Hmm.
but he was still making a big impact. And just so
Yeah.
people are kind of aware of if we get lost in our train of thought, we're at the point of the Washington Oregon game where two of the last four plays have been fumbles, and Washington was running in for a touchdown, fumbled. Oregon picked it up, got to the 20, fumbled, and now Washington's about to get a touchdown.
Wait, that's the second week in a row they did that?
Well, it wasn't a voluntary fumble. Oregon
Oh,
State
okay.
came up from behind and punched the ball out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So can we take a minute to appreciate Kamari Lassiter while we're talking about this?
Hmm.
Because there was at least two plays where Joe Milton threw a beautiful pass, perfect to the receiver. The receiver went up, high pointed it, and Kamari just said, "Go fuck yourself."
He there hasn't been a lot of action toward him. They've been mostly picking on like Everett and who's the other one?
Humphreys.
Humphreys, yeah. But
But
for him to get
Humphrey
tested,
broke his collarbone against Ole Miss.
oh shit, I totally missed that.
Yeah, so one of the times towards the end of the first half, um, he broke his collarbone hitting an Ole Miss guy so hard.
Hell
Like
yeah.
it wasn't he hit the ground. He hit the other player so hard he broke his collarbone.
There's no shame in that.
No.
Absolutely not.
When you're too badass for your own bones, I, you know what, Kirby, bring back the dog bones because he needs one on his
Mhm.
jersey over his
Absolutely.
collarbone.
Like Dion does with like the L's and like D's for leaders and dogs or whatever.
Yeah, you should be able
Need
to
that.
get a dog bone sewn onto your uniform around the bone you broke.
Hmm.
Like for Pop,
Here's your
get
new
his
collarbone.
yeah, like sew it onto his jersey up here. For Pop, put it on like his glove, or if he wears a sleeve, put it on his sleeve. Brock can get one sewn on his shoe.
Mm. Oh, damn. But yeah, Kamari really. I mean, again, he answered the call too. I mean, he always does. But being tested came through, passing flying colors. That him and Amarius are both going to be first round picks at a minimum, and Brock for that matter. So you got probably three first round picks
Oh,
right there, if
whoa,
not more.
whoa, whoa. We're going to live in the fantasy that the players are staying in Athens until they're out of eligibility. That's the fantasy we're going to live in because I refuse to accept it.
Mhm. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Why would they want to leave? Like go to fucking like Cleveland or like fucking Seattle? Like, come on.
Brock was projected to go to the Washington Commies in a mock draft I saw yesterday. Why would you
Yeah,
not
definitely
come back
stay.
to Athens?
Yeah, I would come back. I mean, especially playing on that field, they haven't fixed FedEx Field at all. Like RG3, his career was ruined by playing on that shit. Joe Theismann's career was ruined by playing on that.
Well, and Lawrence Taylor.
And yeah, well, he's the one that broke Theismann's leg, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, no, Brock, don't do it. If it's even a question that Washington's going to take you, to come back.
Yeah, you should just talk to somebody around the fifth pick and be like, hey, I will take a significantly less first year contract if you take me because I do not want to go play. First off, in Washington, the whole place smells like shit because everybody in DC just speaks shit.
Yeah.
But second, it's an awful team.
Hmm. They what he should do is if they did draft him, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go play in the XFL or whatever fucking league it is now. Play for Hines Ward with San Antonio
Yeah, and
USFL.
uh, you know, with Hines Ward also wearing 19 at Georgia and playing three positions, he would be like, "Hey, Brock, you play quarterback?"
Be the best one on that roster. And I
Ah,
have this down there later on, but it's crazy that Brock, like considering how great Hines Ward was at Georgia, Brock is. I mean, when you think of number 19 at Georgia, you automatically think of Brock now before you think of Hines Ward.
yeah, no, I agree. Kind of wild how much that changed after, 19 used to be an NFL Hall of Famer, Super Bowl MVP,
Mhm.
and now it's two-time national champion, probably one of the greatest players to ever play the game of college football,
Mhm.
Brock
Yeah,
Bowers.
arguably the best player in program history, which if it comes through, everything works the way we're hoping that it works out. I think he is. But, that's a discussion for another day. We got a lot of football to play.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I am sad that Ladd didn't, as far as I know, he didn't take a snap. Rumor is that he tweaked his back last
Mm.
week against Ole Miss. Um, keep him
I mean, we
healthy
need him.
for
We
the
didn't.
family, I think.
We didn't need him today, obviously. If
No.
looking back at it, but probably don't need him
Doubt we
next
need
week.
him
But
next week.
yeah, yeah, you need him for Bama. You all hands on deck.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't get to the mute button fast enough. So
That's
you've
all
got
good.
it in here a couple phrases that we need to try and work in. Um, so third down dogs or third and back for the offense. Which one do you like more?
Well, if we're trying to get him a Heisman, third and back is what we should go with.
I like it. Third and back.
Yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
lot better than third and Grantham.
Yeah.
Um, I know Georgia hasn't necessarily been under that for a better part of a decade now, but
It's still fresh in our memories just seeing
always
Todd
will
just
be.
bounce around SEC programs. So yeah, third and back is what we should call it for now on. I have not seen that anywhere, but I think we're gonna trademark that and go. Maybe that should be another T-shirt. I don't know.
All right. So we're almost at the end of November. We, at the beginning of the month, threw out a couple names. Ladd had a couple good games, but then he didn't play this week. Ladd had some phenomenal games. I don't want to
Yeah,
downplay
yeah, I
him.
did. Hmm.
Um, Brock came back after 26 days after surgery.
Mm-hmm.
That's I can't you can't talk about that enough. That's
No.
superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then he
for
had
the
a
entire month, Carson Beck had just continued his most 250-yard games to start a career at an SEC program. And then Javon Bullard had an insane amount of defensive plays and 2 interceptions.
I think so. He had one last week. Did he have one this week? This week?
No,
This
he
week?
had one against Mizzou
Oh yeah, that's right.
and then one
Yep.
against Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we gotta come up with a name. Is it Ladvember, Beckvember, Brockvember, or Javimber? Is that
I like Javember.
Javimber?
I don't know if anybody would
Yeah,
put two and two
that's
together there.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to workshop that. But
We'll
again,
keep
if we wanna if I know Kirby really doesn't give a shit about it, but like if we want to see Beck in New York, which I think is a very real possibility, especially now that Trav
Jordan Travis.
yeah, Jordan Travis. There we go. I don't know why I was gonna say Travis Henry. I don't know, but Jordan Travis had a bad had a bad injury. Probably not gonna play the rest of the year. I just heard about it. I didn't see it. How bad was it?
So I didn't see it either. I mean, they are playing North Alabama, so I just really didn't pay attention to that game, except for the
Yeah.
highlights they were showing on game breaks of the other
Mm-hmm.
stuff I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they were losing to North Alabama.
Yeah, they were winning when I
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
before I
No,
got on.
they're up 24-13 now.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've scored 24 straight. Um, Still, you know, it really sucks that Travis is going to be out, but you do have a good point, and Carson could I think if Carson made it to New York, he would probably come in fourth.
Yeah,
Um, just
like
based
Stetson
on
did. Yeah.
touchdowns. He won't get to 40 touchdowns without like a 12 touchdown game next week. Highly doubt that's going to happen. Well,
Yeah.
12 touchdowns between the next 2 games, I think, is what it would take for him to get to 40.
Yeah,
Um,
he hasn't necessarily had like a Heisman moment. Like Jaden Daniels had that last week.
Jaden Daniels, almost his entire season has been a Heisman moment.
Yeah, he should win it. I
I
mean, I'm not saying that Carson should win it, but he should at a minimum he should get to New York. New York.
I agree. I think he has played. I think he's one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the country based on what he has done. First year in the system with a new offense, losing a lot of pieces, a different offensive line combination in almost every single game because of injuries.
Hmm.
That cannot be understated. I mean, even today, Tate goes down with a knee injury. X-rays showed no bone damage, so that's positive as far as Tate goes. Um,
Hmm.
but still, they shifted 3 guys on the offensive line in the middle of a game against one of the best defensive lines in the SEC, and you couldn't really tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive what he's been able to do. I mean, especially with the clean pocket, he's been money. And like we were saying before, like third and back, like he's money on third down. I don't necessarily have it pulled up right now, but at one point I think they were like 7 for 10 on third down. They probably were even better than that.
With him in the game, I think it was probably that. They did pull him on like a second down in the fourth quarter with about 4 minutes left.
Mm.
Um, and they had Vandegrift hand it off and then try to throw a pass on like 4th and 7,
Yeah, he got
which
blew up.
he got blown up. I
Yeah.
Why they chose to do that, I don't really know.
Hmm.
But no, third down was great against a Tennessee defense that, like we talked about earlier in the week, that's the foundation of this team.
Yeah.
So what they were able to do against that defense is impressive, especially with how Tennessee was getting to the quarterback early in the season.
Hmm.
And
Well, and
and
like
then
Georgia, like and Georgia overall, I mean, they ran for 156 yards, which I mean, just kind of looking at the like nobody like really necessarily stood out. Like Kendall Milton had a touchdown. He was 14 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. But I mean, Arian Smith had a end around.
33-yard end
Yep.
around.
Yeah. But like outside of that, like nobody's like numbers like jump off the page. They still had over 150 yards rushing.
Yeah,
So that was nice.
Carson used his damn legs today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And it's not going to show in there because I said he had 4 carries for 5 yards, but he made some scrambles,
Well,
made for some
yeah, he
first downs,
also
kind of.
lost like 10 yards on the play where the handoff got all sorts of jacked up and he dove on the ball because
Yeah.
that counted as negative rushing yards on him.
Hmm.
But he picked up multiple first downs with his legs today. I mean, Carson is everything we could have hoped for in a quarterback and some for this
Absolutely.
season,
Hmm.
especially after losing. I don't even think it's much of an argument. The best quarterback in the history of the program and Stetson Bennett this past
Hmm.
offseason. And
Yeah.
then you go into Carson where it took him a few weeks to get into his groove, but he's literally gone 11 games into a season with passing for over 250 yards, and most of them have been around 300 or more. And there were games last season where Stetson had like 150 yards, mainly
Yeah.
because the run game was so good. But
Mhm.
regardless,
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing something that's never been done in the history of the SEC, let alone the University of Georgia.
Mhm. And Stetson made it to New York too. We had talked about that. So again, Carson at a minimum should be in New York in what, a month, whenever they do the ceremony.
Yes. Um, is it between the playoff games? No, it's before the playoff games.
Yeah, it's before the playoff. It's after the conference championships. Is like because honestly, we'll probably end up coming down to, and we'll get to it. I'm sure we'll get to it later, but it'll be like the whoever wins the Pac-12 championship between Bo Nix and Michael Penix.
I
That's
think
who's
they
in
should
the
both
Heisman.
be there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
There's absolutely no reason that they shouldn't be there. I think Jaden Daniels will win it as long
Mm-hmm.
as they, last I saw, Georgia State was actually beating them in Baton Rouge. But as long as they win this game
Mm-hmm.
and they beat A&M next week, Jaden Daniels is going to New York and he should win the Heisman.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll
And
definitely see. I think it's 14-14 right now with the LSU game. LSU just, oh no, Georgia State just scored.
every single defensive, I know we're talking Georgia right now, but every single defensive player at LSU should be devastated in themselves that they are the reason that Jaden Daniels and that offense does not get to go to the playoff.
Hmm. Yeah, they have no one to blame but themselves for sure. It's not
That
the offense. It's not Jaden Daniels' fault. Uh-uh.
no, Matt House, the defensive coordinator, and every single person that works on the defense below his level, and you can kind of blame it. I'm not even going to say you can't blame it on Brian Kelly because as a leader, you are responsible for everything your organization does and fails to do. But
Mm.
the defense was pretty good last year. It wasn't great, wasn't awful. Um, but defensive coordinator down to a defensive walk on, you should all be disappointed in yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
They, they could have did better to address that in the offseason because they knew exactly what they were getting into.
yeah, no, like I'm obviously not an LSU fan, but good lord, Jaden Daniels. I think you could argue that his 2 years as a whole were better than Joe Burrow's 2 years. Joe
Hmm.
Burrow had good enough defense to make it to the national championship and win.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels doesn't even have good enough defense to play for an SEC championship the second year in a row with the worst Bama team in recent memory.
Hmm. And still a Bama team that, if they end up winning out, will make the playoff.
Yeah, I just and the offensive line should be disappointed in themselves too because they're a big
Yeah.
part of why LSU wasn't really fighting in the second half of that game. But
Hmm.
come on, defense! Like, what the
Yeah.
hell are you doing?
Nothing.
That's the problem. They've
Yeah.
done nothing. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into players of the game. Go ahead on offense.
All right. So I was kind of stuck between that, but I think you have to give it to Dylan Bell here. So I'm trying to pull it back up real quick. Uh, he had he had 5 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown, 24, and he had a big, I think, 24-yard conversion on a 3rd and 12 early in the game. That was just like a beautiful catch on that right sideline there. And then of course, like we talked about before, he did have the one touchdown pass, 18 yards to Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint. So again, coming out party for him, big time game. It was good to see, especially with Lad McConkey not playing. So you needed somebody to step up, and Dylan Bell answered the bell, played his ass off in a Rocky Top. There we go.
And Dylan Bell had stats in three different categories. And
Mm-hmm.
fun fact, he was the second leader in all three categories.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, second in passing because the only other person that completed a pass on the day or attempted a pass on the day was Carson Beck, who, by the way, 80% completion percentage, 298 yards, three touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he played. I mean, you can't go wrong if there's about maybe 4 or 5 guys that you can put for offensive player of the game for this, and I don't think anybody would be mad about it.
No. But Dylan Bell, or no, he had one carry for 4 yards, so he wasn't the second leader in that category. But
Mm-hmm.
second receptions, 5 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Like athlete.
Yeah.
Put him in a 99 jersey on offense.
Ooh.
I zero's already taken, 99 on offense is not.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice. That
Um,
should be the weapon number.
it really should. So for defense, man, I gotta go with Tyke Smith. 10 tackles on the day, 8 of them solo tackles.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a phenomenal day. Once again, if somebody's not in the right spot, Tyke Smith makes up for it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Again, should be an All American this year as well, with
Should be.
along with Malachi. So and probably Kamari too. I mean, he has an argument as well. So
The entire secondary, with the exception of that second corner spot,
mhm.
you know, no hate to Dalen Everett or Julian Humphrey, but they've kind of rotated in because neither of them has played at the level of the rest of the secondary. But between Tyke, Javon, Malachi, and Kamari, all of them deserve All American.
Mhm. That would be interesting to see if they end up getting that. Some are saying that we should be DBU.
I think at this point, most are saying, for being honest.
Because it sure as hell isn't LSU.
No, no, it is not. It's not Florida either.
No, God no.
Um, and we do have a freshman of the week this week, and
Walker went 16 yards. He drove right over Orange Church, just driving and running with those big thighs. My God, a freshman.
player of the game is our guy, friend of the show, C.J. Allen, made a single mistake today. It it cost 7 points, but
Mhm.
he was flying around the field. He had a sack. He had a pass defended. He technically didn't have a sack. He had a quarterback pressure. Whatever, same difference.
Yeah.
Especially when his pressure caused Joe Milton to trip. That should count as a sack. Just
Hmm.
whatever. But he had a pass defended. He was in coverage. He was rushing the passer. He was spying Joe Milton. He was stopping the run. As a true freshman, thrust into this position because a phenomenal inside linebacker in Pop goes down, and he's out there pairing with Smile Mondin, who himself had a great day,
Hmm.
to shut down this powerful running game of Tennessee, put pressure on the quarterback. For a linebacker to be in coverage, whether it was against a tight end, wide receiver, running back, doesn't matter. It's extremely impressive. A true freshman was able to do that as well as he did.
If Pop's able to come back for the playoff, I mean, you got to play both of them, right?
Oh, it'll be a rotation, probably play by play.
Yeah.
Like if you have the opportunity between Smile, Pop, and CJ, somebody's going to be fresh all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'd have to have Pop out there and running downs, and then CJ out there and passing downs. He's a fucking missile.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal in coverage today, which is something that Pop has not always been the best at. So
Hmm.
Georgia's definitely linebacker U,
That's it.
potentially DBU,
Hmm.
arguably tight end U, and definitely linebacker U.
Hmm. It's hard to make an argument. It's almost everything you at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Winning you.
Yes, everything.
Everything you. All right, so then Hungriest Dog, since I didn't give the offensive player to Marcus, I'm going to give him the Hungriest Dog award here. Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint. My man had 7 receptions, 91 yards for 13 yards a pop, and 2 touchdowns. Of course, he caught one of those from Dylan Bell. But dude was a weapon, too. I mean,
How many
between him
times
and
can you say you caught touchdowns from 2 different passers in a top 25 matchup?
mhm. I mean, again, he played his ass off. He was kind of like when Ladd isn't there, he's really the guy that steps up most consistently. Because I mean, we talked about that early in the season when Ladd was out the first, however many games he was out, that Marcus made himself some money, potentially. Obviously he has to do well at his pro day and all that, but he showed some things on film, and especially again with Ladd not being there, he stepped up in a big way for this team. And honestly, could I even given this to Brock? I know we gave it to Brock last week too, but Brock had 7 receptions for 60 yards, and he had another touchdown. But
And he
I think
was
we both,
hurting at one point in the game.
yeah, and one of the balls spit in his face. That's why he got so pissed off.
Man, if Brock comes back, it is just to play Tennessee in Athens next year.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
hope he says that.
Yeah, that would be in his. Brock, you were going to be a first-round pick. Why'd you come back to put 200 on Tennessee? Drop the mic. Press conference over.
Build him a statue before the season's over.
Before the season starts.
Yeah. The only active player with the statue on campus. Herschel doesn't have one. Stetson doesn't have one. Give it to Brock.
And make it his yoga pose getting that 4th down conversion against Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know how. Somebody can do it.
So, before we move on from the Georgia stuff, Georgia won 38-10 against Tennessee. 28-point win. Ohio State won 38-3 against Minnesota. Is there any chance Ohio State takes that one spot back?
Not a chance. Minnesota is
not making a bowl this year.
Yeah, they're not rowing the boat very well. It's probably
Fleck should have fled Minnesota when he had all the job opportunities a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, he fucked up. But damn, I lost my train of thought.
My bad.
No, it's all good.
And last thing before we get out of here is in honor of Wes. Good old Rocky Flop. Woo! Rocky Flop, Tennessee.
That was beautiful.
With my raspy voice that I've been coughing into my arm every few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, somebody had said Rocky Top, which I like that better.
What?
Instead of Rocky Top, Brock E-Top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. That's more of a see it than hear it thing.
Yeah.
So the only other game that we're really talking about today, because it's really the only other game that meant a whole lot that's gone on so far. Louisville at Miami. I watched this game. I just want to say Joey Gatewood, if you remember that name, it's because he was the backup at Auburn behind Bo Nix for a year or so.
Yeah.
And then he transferred to Kentucky. And then he actually got a couple starts at Kentucky when Levis was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then he transferred to Louisville as a graduate. And without Joey Gatewood catching 2 passes today, both chunk yardage, both long third downs where he got the first down, Louisville loses to Miami, doesn't make the ACC championship, and North Carolina's game actually meant something today.
Wait, so okay, I just pulled up his stats. Okay, so 2 years at Auburn, 1 year at Kentucky. Do you know where he played between Kentucky and Louisville?
I don't.
UCF in 2021.
So this is his 4th school.
How is that a Dang.
That's a great question. Does he have stats at UCF?
Yeah, he had 28 carries, 142 yards.
Okay, so 2 years at Auburn,
He
transfer
did
portal.
he didn't play in 2022. So I guess that's maybe like a
Well,
maybe.
he started sitting out halfway through the season in 2022 at
Oh, okay.
Kentucky.
Okay.
So 2 years at Auburn, then he went to Kentucky,
Mm,
had a few starts because of a Levis injury, maybe just one,
mm.
and then grad transferred to UCF, and then COVID year transferred to Louisville.
So people want to give Stetson shit.
I mean, without Joey Gatewood, Louisville loses that game today, doesn't make the ACC championship, and this will be their first ACC championship appearance.
Because
Um,
nothing says the Atlantic Coast like Louisville, Kentucky.
yeah, you're 100% correct.
Geography doesn't matter anymore. We are well aware of that. Stanford's going to the ACC too, so whatever. But what's wild is I only saw this highlight of it because I didn't see the game because I really like I'm gonna keep it going by just not really watching Louisville at all. But Miami went for a Hail Mary at the end of the game to tie it up or to try to tie it up, and it was caught inside the two. It was like a tip ball. When somebody caught it, he tried to get in the end zone. He got tackled there. But apparently Miami had a timeout that they took not too long before that, and if they would have kept that in their back pocket, they would have had a 2 yard attempt, to try to tie it up, and they fucked it up because Mario Cristobal, he can recruit, but he can't do much else.
His fans want him to get the Jim Harbaugh treatment. His Miami fans want Cristobal to recruit players, be at practice, be at meetings, and not be able to do anything at the games.
He's much more valuable on the recruiting trail than he is there. Oh my
Probably
god,
at practice too, because he looks
yeah,
like the kind of guy that would honestly be a little scary at
yeah.
practice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. And Jeff, shout out Jeff Brom. Do you remember that? I don't know if you saw it, but the clip of him when he was the quarterback in the XFL.
No.
Dude, okay, you got to go back and see it. I
Okay.
don't know if you want to watch it now, but he took like this big hit in the XFL, like the original like OG XFL,
Yeah.
and he got up. He was like cutting a promo, like he was like in the WWE because that's what the XFL was in the first incarnation of it. But
Yes.
he was like, they're like, how are you still playing this game? He's like, well, let me tell you something. All right, let me answer your question with two questions of my own. What was it? It was like, am I injured? No. Is my heart still beating? No. Let's go out there and play some fucking football or something like that. It was something ridiculous. It was like the greatest in-game quote I've ever heard, and that obviously I
And
fucked it up,
and
but it
that
was good.
attitude is why he coached the Spoiler Makers.
Hmm. It was so good. You gotta check it out. I mean, if you just search up Jeff Brom XFL, it's gonna be the only thing that pops up. But it it was good. I get it. I get why he's such a good coach. He took freaking Louisville to the ACC championship in his first year, and then took Purdue there last year. Good for him. Right to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. You know, Jeff Brom is, he is what Dan Mullen thought he was.
Hmm.
He is the coach who motivates people. He may not get the best recruits, but he can get 10 times out of those recruits than other coaches can.
Hmm.
Jeff Brom is who Dan Mullen thought he was. And
Yeah.
we'll just go there. Um, so a couple of the things that we want to hit on that happened today. USC stomped the hell out, or UCLA stomped the hell out of USC, giving them a 7-5 record on the season, with arguably one of the most potent offenses in recent college football memory, maybe except 2019 LSU. I mean, if we're being honest, their offense is the entire reason why people pay attention to USC right now.
Hmm.
Their defense couldn't hold an unranked 6-4 UCLA to less than 38 points.
A UCLA team that's probably going to fire Chip Kelly.
Well, what's funny is ESPN said that they're probably not going to fire him after he did that to USC.
But everybody's doing that to USC. I
Yeah,
mean, whatever.
but not everybody's defense does that to USC.
Notre Dame did, but you see, Chip Kelly's. I don't know. That's funny that Chip Kelly's the best side of the ball for him is on defense. That's not obviously something that you would think of for
No,
him.
no, not at all.
Um. Oh, real quick, I do have the exact quote that Jeff Brom said.
Okay.
All right. So just I found it on uh the Courier Journal. I don't know where that's at, but it said NBC's Chris Ratch in an interview right before the game was shocked that he was back in the game. He asked Jeff Brom, "How in the world are you starting this game tonight after taking that hit 6 days ago?" And then Jeff Brom said, "Let me answer this question by asking you two questions. One, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Two, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's go play football." Dude.
You can just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight before we get out of here?
Fuck Texas Tech.
I,
They won. They won by one, but UCF covered. So
you get the best of both worlds on that.
yeah. So I don't even know what Texas Tech is currently right now. I think they're probably in the upper half of the Big 12, but not that they're going to win, or not that they're going to get the Big 12 championship at this point. But yeah, I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's. Oh shit, we got to go over our bets that at least the ones that have already hit. We'll talk about the rest of them later in the week.
Oh wait, before we do that, Texas and Iowa State are currently tied at 3, and Iowa State is they're about to punt.
What quarter is it?
It's almost halftime. There's 2:43 left in the first half.
Iowa State better offense than or better defense than Bama. You heard it here first.
Stats don't lie, or numbers don't lie.
Numbers do not lie. So I took Georgia -10, got that. Arizona -1 and the over, got that because Arizona almost covered the over by themselves. Won that game 42-10. Washington and Oregon still going on. I took Washington to win the game outright.
They look like they're going to. I mean, it's halftime. It's 22-10.
Yeah, they're currently leading and just got an interception before halftime. So I took Kansas State +8, and they're currently trailing by 11 in the third quarter. So we'll see how that works out. Louisville -1 at Miami. They won, so I got that. I took the Tulane FAU over 46.5. That didn't hit. I should have just taken them to cover like I wanted to. And then when I finally got the player props or when they finally put the player props out, I took Brock to have over 58 yards. He barely got that with 60. And then I took Ladd over 62 because no one knew that he wasn't going to play until probably halftime when people were like, wait, Ladd hasn't played.
Yeah. Shout out you. You might be, I mean, at this point, you're probably going to be 6-2 this week. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. No, I'm big comeback week for me. I'm happy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. For me, again, took Georgia to cover that 10 points. Obviously, they did that. Arizona to cover the 1 point, did that. I took Oregon State +2.5. I'm sorry, -2.5. That doesn't look good right now, so it's probably an L. I also took Kansas State +8 and the over, so we'll see how that goes. Like I talked about before, UCF +2. They ended up losing outright, but they lost by 1, so dub for me. UNC at Clemson, the over 58.5 did not hit. Illinois at Iowa, I was kind of flip-flopping between the two. I ended up going the under there. The under 30.5, and that hit, I think it was like 28 or 29 or something like that. It wasn't much under, but still under nonetheless. Old Dominion at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern was a 6-point favorite. Georgia Southern did not cover. Did they lose outright?
Yes, 20-17.
All right, so there goes their
final a minute or two ago.
So there goes their Sun Belt chances. Shit. Oh well. And then I took Florida at Missouri. Or, no, I didn't take Florida. Florida at Missouri. Missouri's an 11-point favorite. Currently, Missouri at time of recording is up by 6. Yeah, at halftime. So could still happen, but I think we both did pretty well this week, all things considered.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with what I was able to do this week. Not a great week, rivalry week. I think will be a lot better. I think both of us will have a lot more picks.
Hmm.
And as of right now, we don't know who we're planning on getting the um, for the midweek show. I'm not even really sure when we're going to be able to do that because Mike will be in Orlando. But
Yeah. Hey,
um,
Tech is up against Syracuse right now,
I
so
was about
Tech's
to
going
say,
bowling.
Tech, if Tech closes this game out, they're going bowling. And I said we would try and get somebody on from Tech if they did. So that might be
You
the
know who
key.
we should get is my bitch ass neighbor across the street since she's so smart.
She probably doesn't know football.
Nah,
Judging by
probably
the
not.
way judging by the comments that you have sent me and screenshots, I not entirely sure she knows what football looks like.
No, I just want to just bring her on. Just bark at her.
That
Hang
would
up.
be
Got
hilarious. We both just bark at her for a solid 10 seconds and then hang up the call.
it. She might walk across the street and break a window. But you know what? Then I'll bark at her more.
Does she know your name? Like where you
Yeah.
live?
Oh, she knows. She
Oh,
talked to Jen. She wouldn't say a fucking word to me, but I won't talk to her.
good. Good. Keep the keep that clean old fashioned hate alive.
Mm-hmm.
All
Someone's
right,
got to.
guys. As we always talk about, follow our social medias: Instagram at nothing.finder.pod, Twitter at finderpod, Facebook and YouTube. Search us there. If you rate and review the show 5 stars, send a screenshot. We will send you a sticker. Please go check out our merch. If not for you, for a loved one during the holiday season. And as always, remember there is nothing finer in the land.
Then a drunk obnoxious Georgia fan.